The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
Marlon Pack is talking about his future he wants to play on.
I want to continue to play at this football club. I have spoken before about what my role looks like. I've been playing, I've been injured, I have been on the bench, hopefully I still add some value to the group. I am a very self-aware person, I know I won't start every game, and I know the role might be as it was before Doz got injured, which is coming off the bench, depending on the scenarios of the game. That role could also be driving standards in training, and being that voice and that communicator. While you are still playing, retiring would be stupid. It would be foolish to try to step away and give up playing, giving up being part of the group, giving up being in the dressing room. Once you do that, I think it's hard to recreate that feeling. As long as I feel physically able, and I always look after myself, as long as I feel I can have an impact at this level, whatever that looks like, which might not be starting every game. Of course you want to continue playing, because you are a long time retired, and I have given my all to become a professional footballer. I do like the coaching side of it, it's definitely something I want to go into, but I don't think quite yet. I've never been the quickest. We've got Ebu in there now, who is a really dynamic midfielder, which definitely balances us out, especially how I play. I am smart enough to know my deficiencies, and I play to my strengths. If you continue playing at this level, there's no reason to call it a day yet. That is more for other people to do. I am self-aware of that. When the time is right, it will be right. I still think I have another season left in me.
Let's have a think about what he's just said. And we know it's what he thinks, and he's got a plan, but he won't tell us what it is. Because there's this. We want to keep, that's the fans, the club, want to keep John MOUSINHO for as long as we possibly can. But the way he's going, it's a racing certainty that in the end, a Premier League club will come for him. There's no doubt about it. Is there? Does anybody doubt that? Well, yes, actually, a man in the street stopped me, knowing I'm a Pompey fan, and said to me, he's got to go. And I said, who's got to go? He said, MOUSINHO. I said, oh, you're ridiculous. He said, no, he's got to go. I said, well, who are you going to put in his place? And the bloke went, doesn't matter. Well, that's about the strength of and weight of argument that people who say things like that, generally speaking, have. Pompey have got a short list of people that they would turn to if John MOUSINHO, for example, just decided to pack it all in and go and watch baseball in America, because that's one of his great loves. They've got a short list. All clubs do. What do they call them? Contingency plans, something like that. Now, if I was a betting man, and I am, I would give very short odds only on the possibility that Marlon Pack is on that short list already. He would be going from playing and sort of player coaching in a semi-official capacity to being the manager of a big club. And that's exactly what John MOUSINHO did. And he did it really, really well. And I have a suspicion that unless John MOUSINHO has somebody else up his sleeve, if he were asked by the Eisners, thank you for your service, do you recommend anybody? How could he not recommend Pack, you see? Am I right? And the same with Rich Hughes, I suspect. He knows the club inside out. He loves the club dearly. He maybe loves the club too much. To a certain extent, when you're managing a football team, you need to have a bit of distance between you and your passion and your heartfelt love of the club that you're managing. It shouldn't get in the way, but it could do. But he's such a level-headed character, isn't he? And he used the word twice in that little interview that I think is so all-important in people. And that is self-awareness. He understands himself. He has good dialogue with himself. He keeps both feet on the ground. Doesn't mean to say he can't dream. And his dream is almost certainly to manage a decent club. And if he could walk to work to do it, then he's got it made. So, Marlon Pack, we're glad to hear you think you've got another season in you. But stick around, mate. We might need you wearing a suit around the building.
The disappointing news about Josh Murphy's injury has opened the debate about whether the club are already looking to cement the services of ALLI. With Pompey's top player and main provider of goals now out for the season, ALLI looks tailor-made to step into the breach, but what of next season? The answer may lie in a chance remark by sporting director Rich Hughes during the week Jacob Brown arrived at Fratton. He said, "We have a particularly good relationship with Luton." At the time, his words weren't picked up, but in the light of events, it seems more than probable that conversations have taken place. For starters, it's normal for clubs who enter loan agreements over players to keep the channels open, if only to measure the player's fitness and progress. For example, it's repeated often that Pompey's goalkeeping coaches are in constant contact with Toby Stewart at St Johnstone, and no doubt in contact with the club itself. The challenge facing Rich Hughes lies in inquiring about Luton's intention to keep ALLI or let him go must be concealed in apparent indifference, to avoid Luton smelling a big payday in the offing and slapping an inflated price on the winger's head. He also must stay alert to suss out the truth about their plans, because if they want him back at the end of the season, it changes Pompey's priorities in the summer transfer window.
Interesting. Someone once said you solve one problem and it only unearths two that you didn't have before. And that's how it kind of is with this injury to Josh Murphy. It's sad for him. It's sad for us because we're deprived of our best left-sided forward player, forward midfield player. We play three across the pitch behind Bishop, so he's technically not a winger, he's a wing forward. But anyway, he's gone, but we kind of solved the problem in having ALLI, who turns out to be a very effective substitute for Josh Murphy. Very effective, actually. However, the problem now is, how do we go about persuading Luton to part with his services on a permanent basis at a price that we can afford? Or perhaps, if we get a bigger transfer budget, a price that we're prepared to pay? So Rich Hughes has to now make gentle inquiries at Luton, and he says he gets on very well with Luton. They have a good relationship, either with the entire club or a particular person at Luton. And so much of life is done on a handshake, isn't it? You know, you like to rely on your buddies, even if they work for a different organisation, or in footballing terms, run a different club, a competing club, or a club that you will compete against from time to time. But he's got a good relationship with Luton. That means he can pick up his mobile phone and have a chinwag. And in the course of that chinwag, he's got to play Henry Kissinger, a great diplomat. He's got to play Henry Kissinger in finding out what Luton's plans might be without alerting them to the fact that we might be very serious about putting in a bid for him. So, and all will never be revealed. We'll get the bare bones of it. Either he'll come or he'll go. And either we'll find out that it's an undisclosed fee, which we'll never be able to penetrate. But all that matters is who runs out there in a blue shirt wearing the metaphorical number 11 for the first game of next season. John MOUSINHO is talking about where Pompey stand against other teams in the Championship at this moment in time.
I feel we're quite a good team, and I think we're causing problems for a lot of sides in the league, but we just need to show more ruthlessness. We need to show a little bit more nous to go and win these games. Honestly, if I look objectively at the past few games, I think we've done more than against Hull to control the entire game against a side who have just gone third in the league. I feel we were better than Wrexham, who are a top 6 side. I feel we were better than Millwall, who were third on the day, and we beat Charlton, who were down there with us. We gave Sheffield United a good game, and Southampton was a pretty competitive game, but they've won pretty much every game since and are blowing sides away. I don't want us to get carried away, but I think we're a good side. I don't think we're in games thinking we need to be double direct. We have to rely on low percentage possessions and nicking things on the break. I think people know me well enough, and I'm not obsessed with possession and keeping the ball, but at the minute we look like we can control games and dominate games. I think we can get the ball in some promising positions in the final third. I think we're in a promising spot, and my take is it's entirely up to us what we do this season. The only side who can properly beat us is ourselves. Earlier in the season, we played sides who were simply better than us, and that's fine. If you look at Coventry and Birmingham, the first iteration of that Sheffield United game, fine, those sides were better than us. I don't feel that at the moment. I think we're more than good enough to compete.
There's always plenty of meat on the bone when John MOUSINHO speaks, and it's a nice quote, isn't it? It's not brand new. The only team that can beat us is ourselves. Reminds me of that one, the only thing to fear is fear itself. It's a good quote, and in a sense there's some truth in it, of course, because we just need to finish the move. We're putting some great moves together. Moves that the other sides would be delighted to be able to replicate. But we're doing it. But then when it comes to knocking the ball in the net, we don't quite manage to have... First of all, we don't manage to have a clear-cut chance. I don't think we had a clear-cut chance. Did we on Saturday against Hull? There was that moment when Colby Bishop was going to pounce on a goalkeeper fumble and got pulled back. Everybody, even neutrals, are saying that was definitely a penalty, and I didn't see it at the time, but I've seen it on the replays, and yes, it was. I was watching the ball. Yes, it was. It was a penalty. It was an 85% penalty, I would say. So back to John MOUSINHO and what he's got to say. We are pretty much as good as anybody on our day in the Championship. We've been getting better and better. And let's hope that we can continue that improvement, maintain it perhaps is the better word, and start finishing off at the top end of the pitch, whether it's a midfield player, a winger, or our esteemed centre-half, who must be finding it very difficult to deal with his own feelings about not scoring goals, because it's what he lives and breathes for, isn't it? All number 9s do. Oh, just one last thing. John MOUSINHO occasionally reveals the fact that he's an extremely well-educated man who could have been a corporate lawyer if he hadn't been a footballer. With his language, the other day he talked about something being exacerbated, and in that quote that we just heard, he referred to the first game against Sheffield United as being the first iteration of the Sheffield United game. And again, that is a piece of extent. It just means something that gets repeated. I had to look it up. It just reminds you that he's a well-schooled man.